In 1902, graduates from the Palmer School of Chiropractic made some big moves relocating their practices. D.D. Palmer left Davenport, Iowa to make a new start in California. He left his school in the hands of his son, B.J., who was also on the move. What occurred in 1902 that seemingly changed the paths of Palmer chiropractors? Iowa, 1902. The Palmer School of Chiropractic called for its graduates to return for a convention. Citizens of Davenport were offered a free week's treatment to be part of a student clinic. Along with chiropractic instruction for his students, it appears that D.D. Palmer discussed plans for leaving Iowa to launch a school in the East. By the end of January, the press speculated that Palmer had moved his business elsewhere. B.J. stated his father left for Washington, D.C. to sell his wild game collection to a museum. However, letters exchanged between B.J., Oakley Smith, and Saul Langworthy state otherwise. D.D. was to start a school on the East Coast. Opposite, Thomas Storey was to start the Western School of Chiropractic. The Palmer School was left for B.J. to manage. While D.D. traveled east, B.J. was also on the move. He practiced briefly in Spring Grove, Minnesota, stating if he ran into legal troubles, he wouldn't have far to cross state lines. From there, he left for Lake City, Iowa, and a brief visit to Manistee, Michigan, where he practiced the previous year. D.D. returned to Davenport, failing to accomplish his plans in the East. B.J. also returned in June. Dr. Storey of Duluth, Minnesota, made the most dramatic and mysterious move of all. Papers reported he had suddenly left his home and practice and surfaced on the West Coast, apparently with no memories of his trip. He reappeared in California, prompting his family to ask D.D. to locate him. On July 12th, B.J. announced his father left Davenport and would start a new school in Pasadena, California. The Palmers would later explain that D.D. left for California to find his student and cure him of insanity. However, evidence shows there was premeditation for both to relocate in the West. Shortly after, Oakley Smith of Clarinda, Iowa, joined D.D. Palmer in Santa Barbara. What prompted these chiropractors to pick up and relocate? It may have been the Iowa Osteopathic Bill, enacted July 4th, 1902, days before D.D. Palmer left for California. Section 5 stated anyone who professed to treat, heal, or cure disease would be considered an osteopath and subject to Iowa medical law. Practitioners would be required to take a medical examination for review. B.J. Palmer received a letter from the Iowa State Medical Board to submit an examination or cease his practice. His father had received one the previous year. Smith and Langworthy also received the same. It appears the Iowa Osteopathic Law of 1902 was the reason behind the big moves for the alumni of the Palmer School of Chiropractic. By 1904, B.J. faced several indictments and set off for West Virginia. However, faced legal troubles there as well. In the summer of 1904, a legislative bill was introduced that would offer protection to chiropractors and natural healers. B.J. and Langworthy participated in the Psychiropathy movement, influencing their legal strategies in the future. But a topic for another time.